Do you want to live in a city? Do you want to live in a lake town? Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the video on the step-by-step process on how to build / buy a home. So this has been a highly anticipated video. Literally so many people have asked me questions about like how did I even start, or like how did we even what was the very first thing that we did to even start in the process? How much did it cost? How much was the down payment? How does this work? How does that work? So many questions. So I hope I'm able to answer those questions in this video. And I'm actually going to do a step-by-step type of thing so that I don't get too all over the place, because it is a lot. So I am going to do a part 1 and a part 2 just so that it doesn't get all like crazy and all over the place, because again, like I said, it's a lot in the video and I don't want to bore y'all to death, honey. And you guys, I actually have some of this stuff like written out because it is honestly so much. Like even when I was trying to like write it out and stuff, I was already past 2 pages and I was only on like the 3rd step. So because of the fact that it's literally a lot, like it's a lot. Obviously this is one of the biggest purchases that you will make in your lifetime, so of course it's gonna be a lot. Like it's not gonna be like boom boom bam and you finished and you got the house and that's it. So I got my little paper, I got my little notes, honey. Okay, so first and foremost, I do want to just let you guys know, I am not a realtor, I am not a loan consultant, I am not a loan specialist, I am none of that. I'm not a new home specialist. I literally am just a little old, okay? Like, I'm just doing this video because of the fact that I went through the process. Everybody's process is gonna be different. So I'm just giving you guys what we went through. I'm gonna give some tips on some things, just because perhaps there were some things that I might have been worried about during my process, or there might have been some things that I could have did better, or you know what I mean? Like you're gonna be better like the second go around. So I feel like the second time, like once we buy another home, if we buy another home, we will be like on it. Like we will already know like everything for the most part, so it'll be easier and it'll be a little bit less stressful. So yeah, just pretty much don't hold me, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying, is because I ain't the new guru of the home buying process. All I know is what we went through, and I'm just here to share some tips and some advice based off of my experience alone. So again, I just want to reiterate that before we get into it. There are a few things that you need to take care of before you even think about buying a home, in my opinion. The first thing, of course, I would say is get your credit to where you want it to be. So you ideally want to at least have decent credit, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to just go in there and you got all this stuff on your credit report, or you know what I'm saying, you don't have the best score. You need to at least feel confident, like, oh, I know I have a decent credit score, it's not gonna be no problem, because your credit score is very important in this process. They're gonna be pulling your report more than once. They're gonna do it in the beginning and they're gonna do it in the end, and they can do it more than that if they want to. And when I say they, I mean the people, the bank that is financing your loan. So the most people's cases, you'll know whenever you're getting to that moment where you know you feel like you want to buy a home. So at that moment, start working on your credit. That would be my advice. When it comes to your credit, just I just feel like you can do research, and I'm gonna actually do a video, a more detailed video on credit and how to monitor your credit for yourself and how to better your credit just using yourself, just your own self, doing it for yourself for free. Yeah, so I will actually do a video soon about credit and just my tips and tricks that I have learned over the years, and how I've improved my credit at different points in my life, and you know, how I've maintained my credit. It's honestly so easy, and I can't stress it enough that I feel like if you apply yourself, you'll be able to do it yourself without having to actually pay somebody. That business is crazy. Like, I was talking to my dad earlier, and he was saying like some people charge like $1,500. So yeah, it's one of the most stressful things that you're gonna do in your life. That's just point blank period. Like, you might as well just be prepared. Like, just be ready, sis, because you literally gonna be stressed out pulling your hair out, because you just gonna be feeling like, child, when is this process gonna be over, and when am I gonna get the keys? Especially if you're building. Now, if you're buying a home that is already built, your process is gonna be different. There's gonna be a lot of things that you're not gonna have to do that we had to do, and you know, vice versa. Now, I could go into the whole ordeal on how there are different types of mortgage loans. There's FHA, VA, conventional. I could go into all of that, and you know, about around your credit needs, where your credit needs to be to get that type of loan, but that will make the video literally so long. So like, if y'all have questions on that, or if y'all want to do a more in-depth video on that specific subject, just comment below, because baby, it's a lot. Also, before we get to step one, save money. Save money, and then more money. Just because obviously this is going to be one of the biggest purchases of your life, but also there's so much that you're going to have to pay for. Like, number one, even if you already, like, okay, most likely you're going to be financing your home, unless you already rich, boo. Then hey, more power to you. Drop that 400K, get that house, be through with it. But basically, if you ain't rich like the rest of us, you need to save money, and you need to save more money, and then you need to save more money, because you're gonna have to pay for your down payment. You're gonna have to pay your down payment on your house. I don't know if it's the same if you build. I don't know if it's the same if you don't build. But to start our contract, for them to start building our house, we had to also pay what they call an earnest fee. So I don't know if that applies if you're not building or not, so you might want to look into that. But for us, if you are building, you are going to have to pay an earnest fee, and that's just to start the contract and just for them to start building your house. And that's when you like literally choose your lot, and you know, then you just have this big old chunk of land with dirt with nothing on it. And I'm gonna show y'all some pictures of that, because I have a lot of footage from the whole process, so I'll be inserting those pictures and videos throughout this whole little video, just so y'all can get the real tea on the whole process. Pretty much we have to pay for that, and then on top of that, you know, your down payment. And your down payment is gonna be a big chunk of money. They do have a lot of like programs and stuff for like first-time homeowners and stuff like that. I've heard of people who only pay like $500 on the day of close. So you know, make sure you look into those. But like I said, everybody's process is different, and with us building, and then also with the builders that we went through and that we chose, we did have to pay, like I said, for the contract. Then after that, the down payment is not due until you close. So literally the day that you're doing your closing paperwork and that you sign on the dotted line before you about to get the keys. So when you do that, you are paying either 3%, 3.5%, 10%, or 20% even sometimes in some people's cases. And when I say percent, I mean percent of your home value. So say your house is $300,000, then 10% of that is going to be $30,000. You know what I mean? So basically, but on top of your down payment, there's also closing fees and closing costs that you're gonna have to also pay. We actually, with the builders that we had, they had a lot of incentives at the time, so that was another reason that we actually went with them, because we got $5,000 extra in the design center, we got $5,000 at close, and that's to offset the cost. and I think we got like one more incentive that I can't remember. But so those were really great benefits, and that's why we actually ended up choosing that builder that we chose, just because of the fact that, you know, I love to save a coin, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, there was also another fee. There was the appraisal fee that we had to pay for, and that was probably about like 30 days before close. So these are all, you know, straight out of your pocket. And so, like I said, just save money, and then keep saving, save money. And then on top of that, even if you get to close and it is, you know, what the estimated cost was supposed to be, which is ideal, and even if there is no surprise fees or anything like that, it's still good to save more money, because when you get in the house, you're gonna be in the house now, so you're gonna need hella stuff in the house, so you might as well save, you know. Like, we not only did we save for like our down payment and stuff, but we saved just for in general, because you obviously want to have like extra money in the bank, and then on top of that, you want to have money to spend on furniture and all this other stuff, especially if you were in a situation like us where we were coming from a 1-bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying? It's hella furniture that need to be bought. You know what I'm saying? So save them coins, because you're gonna need it, especially if you want to fill up your house. You know what I mean? So, and then you're gonna at this point have a mortgage to pay for, so it's like more serious than, you know, paying your rent at your little apartment. You know what I mean? So save your money, boo. So yeah, that was the only other thing that I was gonna say to do before you even think about buying a house. Okay, so now as far as what we did to even start in the process of buying or building this house, we basically started looking on Zillow. Like, that was the first thing. Like, literally, I don't even know how the conversation came up, but pretty much it was like we wanted to just start looking at houses. Honestly, it wasn't even like that planned. If you want to be 1,000, it really wasn't that planned. It really was like a random conversation, like, you want to go look at houses. That's it. And we was like, and I was like, hey, yeah, I want to go look at houses. So then we started looking on Zillow. We both already had the app. That app is so convenient. You can filter it for location, price, all that good stuff. So if you ain't got Zillow, boo, you late, you need to go ahead and download Zillow. But I'm pretty sure everybody already know about Zillow, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't know about Zillow, then I just put you on and you're welcome. So that's how we kind of even got started. We didn't have a realtor or anything like that, because when you are building, you don't necessarily need a realtor. If you're not, then you probably do need to get one, because like it's a little different. Now you're gonna have to do a little bit like more work and stuff if you're not building, because at that point you're gonna have to do a lot more searching, because you're literally gonna be looking for a specific house. You know what I mean? You're gonna be looking at this house and you're gonna be looking at this house, versus we're just choosing our lot and then we're gonna just build the house that we want. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. So my suggestion, if you're building, you don't necessarily need a realtor at all. But if you're just buying, then you do probably want to get a realtor. If you don't know a realtor, my suggestion would be to ask family and friends so that you can get somebody that you trust. You know what I mean? That would be my main thing. So basically, step one is location. Location. Where do you want to live? Do you want to live in the country? Do you want to live in the city? Do you want to live in a lake town? Where do you want to live? That's really the first thing that you need to figure out, because the first step that you're going to do in this process is locate a city that you can look in, because you can't just be looking all the way around the world, child. Like, you're gonna be stressed to the max. I mean, I guess you can do that, but again, just my suggestion, my tip. Me personally, that's what we did first. We chose a location. So we chose the city that we wanted to live in. Actually, Jared made the suggestion and I was like, boy, you crazy. And then I ended up loving the city, and then we just kept coming back, and then we kept coming back, and then we kept coming back. So, and now we live here. So yeah, if you're building like we did, once you narrow down your location, you can actually start like looking at new build neighborhoods and new construction on Zillow. That's another thing that I love about Zillow. You literally can search for just new construction. So if you're building, that is a really good benefit that you can use the app for. I really like that, because that's, at first, that's not even what we even did, because again, this was not like a planned thing. We actually started, like, we would see houses on Zillow, and then we started seeing like these really nice houses, but they were not like, they were like a digital like, photo, if that makes sense. Like literally it was like, baby, what is that over there doing? See, neighbors, honey, neighbors. But basically we saw these like, and this is how it normally is with new construction. When you look on Zillow, it's like a fake house. Like, it's not like a house that's already built. You know what I mean? It's basically saying that this lot is available with this builder. Does that kind of make sense? We didn't find it out until after the fact, but we were like, oh, these look so nice, it looks so nice. And so we just drove to the location. When we got to the location, to the neighborhood, that's when we realized like, oh, okay, so it's this builder and this builder in this neighborhood. And they even had like they had a couple that were already built. And you could go in there and you can get on the little pad thing that's on the door that they have now in 2020. You can go on there and you can like download the app and you can like go and tour the home yourself. That's what we did inside of the little quick move-ins. They had furniture and everything in there, so you know they selling you the dream. We go in there, we're looking on Zillow at the prices of the house, and we're like, okay. Now also, like I said, this neighborhood had 2 builders. So with that being said, we actually had to figure out, you know, which builder we wanted to go with. We went to one builder's office, spoke with them. They printed us out like a little sheet and everything. We weren't pre-approved, pre-qualified, anything yet. We hadn't even got to this point. We literally was just looking. And a lot of times they'll tell you that that's backwards and you really shouldn't do that, because you can possibly end up, you know, seeing your dream home and then they could turn around and say that, oh, you can't afford it, you know what I mean, type of thing. So really they tell you to actually get pre-approved before you look at homes. So we did it a little backwards, but again, it wasn't planned. So like, we didn't even know what that was at that time. So we literally like was just like, we don't look at houses, like what's good. Now, luckily these people were really nice and friendly. You're not gonna always have that same experience, because as I go along the story, you will see that some people is kind of rude, because we'll get to that. So anyways, we went over there and we asked him about pricing and stuff like that, and he put together this little loan estimate type of thing for us, and was like, yeah, so this is pretty much around what it will be if this is y'all's income, if this is y'all's this, and if this is, like, it was this cool little sheet or whatever that he did. And we were like, oh, so now we have insight. Now we're excited. We're like, okay, now we kind of know a little bit of information, and we can kind of take this and put it in the cookie jar, like, you know what I mean? Like, we gonna put this off, like, okay, this is the option type of thing. We went across the street to the other builders, which was the competitors, and we talked to them, pretty much the same thing, and they gave us more details, and you know, we're just racking up all this information. So when we actually left the neighborhood, we were like, or no, I was like, babe, we ain't moving there, it's too much. And so we actually looked at another neighborhood in the same city, of course, and but that builder wasn't as friendly. She literally was like, do y'all have y'all's pre-approval letter? It was like, no, sis, we ain't even got to that point. We don't even know if we serious about buying a house. And then she was like, oh, so you don't even know what you can afford. And I was like, no, I didn't say that. But like the way she came to us was so rude. That's why I say that you won't always have a nice, friendly experience. Like she, like literally, multiple people did tell us that, like most people are gonna expect you to already have your pre-approval letter if you're like looking. So yeah, that was one thing, but we didn't care. Like we still was gonna do us. We ain't gonna do it until we gonna do it. So we like, girl, show us this house. You need not worry about it. You should show us this house. But at that point, they kind of turned us off anyway. We kind of was like, we ain't moving over here. They kind of had already, you know what I'm saying? We ain't moving over here because they moved over here. Even though it was the builder and like she wouldn't actually live there anyway. So, but anyways. So yeah. And that person who is going to be in the builder's, like in that building company's office, is called a new home specialist. So they're the person who they specialize in new home builds, and you know how that whole process works, and they're basically trying to sell you the house. So yeah, so pretty much first up, like I said, is location. Once we found the location, you start looking and doing all that good jazz. Now step 2 would be, in our case, would be to get pre-qualified. So when you get pre-qualified, you pretty much doing the basics, like, you know, your income, your debt. I literally think that was it. Oh, and excuse me, your job longevity. So how long you've been there. And I literally think that was it to get pre-qualified. Like I literally think that. Well, now hold up. Also, I think you do have to put on there what home you're trying to buy. So in our case, we did know the price of the home that we wanted to build, how much it would, I guess, cost. And so I think you put that in there also. And then at that point, when you do get pre-qualified, they're gonna say, congratulations, you have been approved for a home at this price. So once they do that, you take this letter and you take it to the new home specialist, and then they're ready to start your contract at that point. Now, when it's time, okay, and I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, but for the pre-qualification portion, I don't even think you submit paperwork or anything. Like it literally was just an online application. There was no paperwork or anything. Pre-qualification is not to be confused with pre-approval. We'll get to that part. So anyway, so you can take that to them, and then that's when they kind of like know that you're serious or whatever like that. And they kind of know that you may or may not be able to afford a home of this price. So pretty much then the new home specialist starts talking to you a little bit more about like what type of home you want to get. So like they have different models in the neighborhood. So you're like, okay, I like the Haley or the Savannah, and it's funny because my little sister name is Haley, and the model of our home was the Haley. Is that my phrase? Okay, so anyways, do you want the Kiana, or you want the Savannah, or you want the Haley, or you want this, or you want that? So it's just different models. And we did actually, the model that we chose, it wasn't even actually like already like in the neighborhood for us to see. Well, there was one in the there were a couple in the neighborhood, but there was no quick move-in, so we couldn't like literally walk into one, if that makes sense. Anyways, so okay, yeah, so after you do the pre-qualification, and they've evaluated, you know, if you can even afford this house based off of just what you're telling them. So they ain't even really just verified it yet, you know what I'm saying? But when you get to the pre-approval, that's when they actually do all of that, and then like you submitting paperwork, you submitting documents and backup to prove that you make this amount of money that you said you make, and that your credit is what you said it was, and that your debt was what you said it was, and so on and so forth. But okay, so before we signed the contract, we had knew that we were pre-qualified, but to start the contract you have to pay an earnest fee. And when you pay this earnest fee, which is what you pay them for them to start building the house and to do the contract and all that. We did that. We went there and we're like, hey, what do we have to do to go ahead and secure a lot? And they were like, do your contract. Write me a check for X, Y, and Z amount for the earnest fee. And then we were like, okay. So, but we, like, once you do this, like, you, like, really, like, in it. So, we weren't, like, again, it wasn't, like, planned. So, we weren't, like, girl, let's write you a check right now. Like, we still was like, are we doing this? Are we doing this? Are we doing this? Are we doing this? Like that. And so then we were like, shit, we doing this. So we basically went ahead and decided that we wanted to go ahead and do it. So we went ahead and left, and then like I think like a week or two later came back and was like, hey, we want to go ahead and write you this check so we can go ahead and start this process. And then she's like, okay, cool. And then we gave her the check, and then we chose the law. And so let's review. First thing you gotta do, get your credit right. Second thing you gotta do is save money. Now, when you start the process, you're gonna choose your location. Then you're gonna get pre-qualified. Then you're gonna get pre-approved. Now, again, this is when you're building. I don't know if it's the same otherwise. Get pre-approved. And now, again, just a simple review. What they're going to expect from you is all of this backup. So W-2s from you and whoever else is on the house, your check stubs, they're going to ask you to sign this paperwork so that they can have permission to run your credit and pull your credit report, check stubs. So I think that's pretty much it for the most part for us. Now, yeah, so then that's it. So again, location, pre-qual, pre-approval, and that's where we at. Now, after you get pre-approved, okay, and now at this point, you've already paid them the earnest fee. Let's do it. Okay, so where was we at? Okay, so you chose your location, you got pre-qualified, you've gotten pre-approved. Now, some people are probably gonna be like, how do you even go about the process of getting pre-approved? Well, for us, in our case, the builders had like a third-party company who they like did business with. If you did business with that company, you got like an incentive. So like, I don't know if it was like $5,000 off of clothes, because I think we got $5,000 off of clothes because we decided to go with the company that was like tied in with them, if that makes sense. So anyways, they put you in contact with a loan consultant, and that loan consultant does all of your financial stuff, does everything. Like literally, they're gonna be the liaison between you and the mortgage company. So if you don't go through a process like that, like it will probably be a little bit more stressful and a little bit more difficult, because shout out to these loan companies, you're kind of gonna just be a number. I remember my loan processor not being real good with communication, not really returning phone calls, not really returning emails, but the loan consultant, who's kind of like the liaison, literally was so great. Like he literally like always emailed back, always called back, always text back, like, well, not text, but literally, like, he literally just was the best. Like he literally will always stay in communication with us, because it is a very stressful process, and there's going to be questions that you have along the way. You're going to be confused about stuff, like hella stuff. Like you don't know nothing about all these taxes and all this other BS, so you gonna be having your questions and you won't want them answered in a timely manner. Now, how the loan processor, who actually works for the loan company, is gonna treat you is they'll hit you up with the quickness. Oh, I need you to send me this document ASAP or whatever, and you might be on the phone like, did you not get my email when I was asking you about X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? And that can be really frustrating. So we were really grateful that we actually decided to go through that third-party company recommended by our builders. And again, it was recommended, so we didn't have to. They literally gave us a choice, and they said, hey, we recommend that you go through this company to handle the processing of your loan, or to assist with the processing of your loan alongside the loan company, because they literally chose the loan company. You see what I'm saying? They probably getting kickbacks or something, child. They chose the loan company for us. So we didn't go and choose, oh, we want to go with this loan company, or we want to go with this loan company. But you have that option if you want to. Now, child, that was just going to be added stress. So we basically let them do all the work, and then we worked with them, and it just went smoother that way. Pretty much after, if you're building a home, it can take like 6 to 8 months. So the house took for us 7.5 months. It's not your house until it's your house. And when I say that, I mean it's not your house until you get the keys in your hand. And you ain't gonna get the keys into your hand until A, it's done, and B, your mortgage company funds your builders with the funds. You feel me? So that's really important to remember. But okay, yeah, so after the pre-approval, now after you're pre-approved, that's what it is. You're pre-approved. Now they're still gonna have to go under underwriting and all that other stuff, and that's when, fast forward after months of pretty much no communication, they're gonna say, hey, we need check stubs again, we need W-2s again, we need this again, we need that again, and then also on the flip side, we need them bank statements, sis. We need them bank statements. So run us them bank statements so we can make sure that you ain't be getting no large lump sums of money because you've been out here in these streets. Or that you ain't like got no other type of debt that hasn't already been reported and that like doesn't show on your credit report. Like say you got some debt going with Becky down the street because you bought something for her and you pay her $200 a month. Like they looking for all of that. They also going to be looking on your bank statements to see if you literally know how to manage your money and you ain't going overdrafted and all that type of shenanigans. Like they're looking for that too. Also on the flip side, they're evaluating your debt to income ratio. So you yourself, you and your spouse, or if it's just you, they're gonna make sure that your debt to income ratio doesn't go over like a certain percentage or whatever. And so they need to compare how much you make with how much you owe folks, because you're still gonna owe them folks that you paying off right now for credit card, company, the car, or whatever you got after you get in the house. So they want to make sure that with all your debt that you got, if any, you're gonna be able to still pay this house, this mortgage, when you get in there, on top of paying all your other bills, if that makes sense. Oh, underwriting. I guess underwriting would have been the fourth step. So location, pre-qualification, pre-approval, underwriting. Now also, in that meantime, in between time, those months that they're building your house, you can't fall off. You can't go and apply for something. You can't go and apply for some new credit card or some new rooms to go account so you can furnish your house. You can't do nothing while you're in the process of buying a home. You gonna mess it up if you do that. You can't go buy nothing. Don't be making no large purchases or nothing like that, because they're gonna be looking at your bank statements. Remember this. Don't be going off and doing none of that stuff. Don't do nothing that's gonna affect your credit score, because your credit score need to remain the same through the process. Your finances and your credit score and your debt. So like when you started, if your credit score was 701, by the time you end this process and we're about to close, it needs to still be at 701. In most cases, it's gonna actually end up being higher by the end, because you're on the up and up this whole time. You ain't do shit. You ain't spending no money. You ain't racking up no extra debt. You ain't swiping your credit card. You ain't opening no new accounts. You're not doing none of that. So your debt is steady going down. And then at the end, it's gonna be like 8 months later. So at that point, your credit scores actually had time to do nothing but go up if you're doing what you're supposed to do. And then obviously if you don't lose your job or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? That's most important. You can't go up and start another job in the middle of the home buying process, because they want to see that longevity. The loan company wants to see, oh, she's been with her job for at least, and I think with some loan companies, the cutoff is a certain amount of years. So you've been there 3 years, cool. You've been there 1 year, I don't know if I want to loan you this money. I don't know. You kind of iffy. You only been there a year. You know what I'm saying? You can get 5. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically, they want to make sure that they want to loan you this money, because it's a large amount of money. So they don't want to just loan this to somebody who just started working at this little job. Regardless of how much money you're making, you just started working at this little job. You might not even be past your 90 days. Like, you get 5 days in the morning, we ain't finna give you that money. Or they don't want to give it to somebody that got way more debt than they got income. They don't want to give it to somebody who credit score not together, because they know for not paying people or not paying them on time, or got, you know, collections on their account, stuff like that. So you really just gotta be making sure that you paying attention to all that stuff, or make sure that you got all your ducks in a row. You know what I mean? So after underwriting, you've pretty much gotten through, for the most part, the hard part. We didn't have that stressful of an underwriting process, except for the fact that it was like 2 or 3 weeks before close. So like, we were like, are they done? We finna close on the house. The house finna be done. We steady coming to the house. We came to the house every Sunday to check on the house. Like, from the moment it was grass, from when it was just wood planks, to the point where they put the tile in, then they put the wood in, then they was done with everything. Like, we came almost every Sunday to check on the house, just to see the progress and everything. But when you are going through the process and you see that they're going to be done with your house, but you haven't really heard from the bank, like, okay, you officially have to go ahead and we're 100% going to give the builders this money so you can get your house. Like, you know what I mean? There was no communication, especially towards the end. And I remember being like, asking my loan consultant, who again is like the little liaison person in between you and the loan company. I remember asking them, like, say, fam, like, I ain't heard from Brooke. I ain't heard from her. Is she like, do she need anything else? Does she need me to send any more documents? I sent everything. When I log onto my account online, it says that it's still under underwriting, da da da. And they're like, they so like laid back. Oh, don't worry about it. She got it. She got everything she need. We'll be on time. Like, literally, I remember one time my loan consultant told me, don't you worry. They gonna be on time with their money. And I was just like, okay. And I told you, like, they said they're gonna be on time. Like, I guess we ain't got nothing to worry about. But when it's getting down to the days and it's getting down to the wire, like, you gonna want somebody to like tell you like it's official. You know what I mean? So like, when you kind of up in the air, you kind of like stressed out a little bit. So that was just added stress, honey. But once you, at the very, very end, like days before you close, they're giving you all these paperworks to sign, and there are a lot of disclosures, closing disclosures after closing disclosures, and you're signing all this stuff and you're reviewing all these numbers for the 100,000th time, and you're just like, okay, I still don't even know if it's official. Well, then, like, I want to say 3 or 4 days prior to close, we got the clear to close, the CTC, and they emailed us and said, congratulations, you've officially been cleared to close. Please look out for X, Y, and Z paperwork that you're gonna have to sign. And you just like on cloud 9. So then on the day of close, you actually sign all your closing paperwork and you sign on the dotted line. And then well, once they got the go ahead that the funds have cleared in their bank account, they're gonna be like, okay, cool, now we got that settled, we can give you your keys. It's like you know.